and no longer live in church. So I started cooking, and here's the ticket for you. Always make double. Never make just what you're eating, so this is going to work well for you. Always make double. It takes maybe 1 or 2 minutes to make double your recipe. 1 or 2 minutes. It doesn't cost that much. And people think, I can't meal plan every week. Well, you really don't have to. Once you get a couple of weeks under your belt, you'll be good to go. Because what you're going to do with that couple of weeks is take them 5 meals, write them down, get them cooked, make at least double. And as you're eating your dinner, let it cool. Go in there, store them in lunch size and dinner size containers. And then put them in the freezer. By the time you've completed 3 meals during your meal planning, from your meal planning sheet, once you've completed 3 meals, your freezer starts with like the frozen food section of it. You're not going to have to eat the same thing over and over and over again. You're going to have a wide variety of food. So that is the great thing about meal planning. Is you always have something that you can eat. You always have lunch. You always have dinner. The meal planning, the best thing to do is once you do that, step 1, choose what you're going to eat. The next step is going to the grocery store. Picking the day that you're going to be able to cook and going to the grocery store. Because if you're like us, then there's a lot of fresh vegetables and things involved. So you want to be able to handle that when you get home. So that's your next big step, is to make sure that you take the time and have the time to take care of the vegetables when you get to the house. Okay? So that's the other really big thing.
Can I add something?
Yes.
I think it's important to be practical about that too.
Yes.
Like, don't buy a whole bunch of crap and then get home and let it go to waste. Like, if you know that your wheats are hairy, butternut squash is not a great Wednesday night food, you know?
Right.
It takes time. A yuca is not a great
Right.
day of the week food. So like when you're planning your meals, put some thought into that.
Yes.
As to, you know, what's really realistic. And like I said, you know, at Publix, for 50 cents, they will peel and cut up your butternut squash for you. Maybe that's a 50 cents that's worth spending.
I'm gonna do that. It is worth spending.
Yeah, they'll do your yuca for you too, but only if you're gonna cook your yuca that day. Don't do that other day. But like butternut squash, once it's cut up.
So you give it to the produce person?
Yeah.
They'll cut your spaghetti squash too in half and clean out the.
Oh, will they?
Will they give you a seed
They don't charge you for that.
They don't charge you for that one, but the butternut squash, they do charge you like 50 cents or something, because they have to peel it.
We have the opposite problem, is you feed a lot of people, it's like an army at my house.
Is it?
Yeah,
9,
they only
right?
eat,
9 people?
9 people, yeah. And they, some of them are small and they only eat certain vegetables, so like broccoli is big, so I can buy that big broccoli at Sam's and they'll eat that and some other stuff, there's a lot. So like now, him and I, we have to be like, you eat you people food, and we'll make something different for us.
Right, and so I think for you, you need to be realistic about that too. How long can you keep that up?
Right.
You know what I mean? So where's a common ground that you guys can meet on? And so, like, for example, tacos, that's why I gave that example.
Right, and we're definitely going to try that recipe.
That's a great common ground, because really tacos you can make as healthy or unhealthy as you want. You know, like same thing with something like fajitas or
chili. See, like they'll eat chili too. That's another thing that they will eat.
yeah, so same thing, you know.
Except for a day when they say I hate chili, but then you know
Right.
they're little, so you know.
But I think it's really important when you work on the meal planning to be super realistic about what is your life really and truly like. Because it can look really pretty. You can purchase meal plans online and they look beautiful and their grocery lists are beautiful and stuff like that. And like, I mean, I can't make that happen, and I'm pretty used to meal prepping and being efficient and stuff like that. So, anyways.
I totally bought a butternut squash this weekend. I was like, I'm gonna make butternut squash soup on Thursday, and I'm like, that ain't happening until the weekend.
Right,
But
yeah.
last, so I like it.
So so like your stuff that is very time consuming, those are great things to do on the weekend, you know, and then even if, like, I always on the weekend make some sort of soup. We may not see that soup on our meal rotation until Wednesday, but I make it. It's in a pot and it's in the fridge, you know, or whatever, because and then it may not come out till Wednesday, but it's time, well, like this soup isn't time consuming, but if I'm making a time consuming one.
Well, that's why I like this, cause they would all eat this. I could feed them this, and they would eat it, and we do the crock pot, we'll do the crock pot.
That's a huge
Yeah.
And you guys are going to, what she was talking about, you have a list of some things that'll cut your time in half, and it'll be on your takeaways, and then get to all that. Towards the end, some things that you can do on those nights that you just don't have time. And that's where we were talking, it's really important that you do buy what you can prep. So you have to have that during the steps. You plan your meals, you go and you buy your meals, you have to be realistic. That's when you can take that time to really consider your things. And always pick and schedule your time. Can you cook all day on Saturday? Is that a possibility, or is it something you just want to do? How much time do you have to prep these things? When are you going to do it? Time is a really big issue, and if you're working and that kind of thing, it's a really, really big issue. So pay attention to what you buy, make those wise choices, because you just don't want to throw things away. Another thing, there are some, we'll go ahead and get into that, is onions, peppers. I have a list of things on here for you to keep on hand. Cut that time in half so that you don't have to buy peppers every week when you go. There are several things that you can keep on hand. Celery chopped up in the freezer. Bell peppers, sweet peppers chopped up in the freezer. And so you always have those to go to something really quick that you can add a lot of flavor. Carrots in the refrigerator. So those kind of things last. You can cook large pots of your veggies while you're like puttering around in the evening. It doesn't take a lot to do that. Let them cool, put them in the freezer so that you have the fresh, good vegetables, but then you don't have to worry about cutting them on a night that's really busy. And so that's on your takeaway sheet. You'll have a lot of that to take with you when you go. The other big thing is taste. You know, we think we're salt, and a lot of us were raised with salt and pepper. My mom, I think, was bring garlic when I got just, like in my teens, we finally had garlic. But other than that, but I've come to learn a lot, and being the lover of food that I am, and we talk about balances. And so one of the things that we're going to talk about with you is to go to your spice blends, your seasoning guide, this is your next page. So let's talk about your seasoning blend that you have right there. Well, it's not just a matter of salt and pepper and seasoning. It's a matter of restaurants when you go and you know that flavor is so good and you think to yourself, there's no way I can replicate that at home. And there's some secrets, and again, I have them on your takeaway, but we'll just talk about them now. This list of spices that you have, the secret that they employ in your meals is they have the seasoning, they have an acid, and they have a sweet, because they want to hit on all the different parts of your taste buds. So what you have in your hand are the keys to the kingdom. If you've ever wondered how in the world do they make that wonderful Jamaican flavor, how do they make a Caribbean flavor or the Mediterranean food, how do the Greek restaurants get it to taste so good? And so what you have there are your spice blends and your seasonings. And so what I'm going to give you now are the acids to go with those.
Okay, so these are, I was like, which one's the
These
acid?
are the seasonings.
These are not the
No,
acid.
those are just the seasoning blends. I'm going to give you the acid to go with each one, okay? So your first one is Italian. So red wine vinegar, or balsamic vinegar. Those are your acids. So red wine vinegar. Use a red sauce or something like that, then that'll be the red wine. And for your shrimp, white wine is a good one to use, or white wine vinegar if one is something that you're comfortable cooking with.
That's for Italian.
Yes, okay. And the Latin, that's your lime. You're going to have your lime mostly, but that's your acid that you primarily see used with your Latin flavors. Your Mediterranean lemon. those flavors. And then the Cajun, lemon, lime, mostly lemon, lime, and those vinegars, you just have to taste those. And one of the things that I have to tell you about with the, in the Jamaican is lemon as well, lemon and predominantly lime with the Jamaican flavor. One of the things I want to caution you about with the acids is you probably don't want to add more than 2 tablespoons at a time. You can increase it, like that recipe calls for 2 tablespoons of lemon. I use half a cup. Simply because I love lemon. And so that it is according to your taste. And the good thing about the acid, you can add it at the end of the recipe. You don't at the end of cooking time. The acid is fine to add at the end of cooking time because it is the flavor. It's not texture or anything else. It's flavor. So you can always top it off with that. And if you like more lemon than someone in your house, then you put the lemon on yours. It's your choice. That's a choice you have to make. But start small and build up to that extra flavor. And then the next one, pick your side dishes. You know, and I always say use these spices because you maybe plain white rice isn't what you're looking for. Pull some of those spices into your side dish. Pull some of the spices into the quinoa. Pull some of the spices, kind of marry your flavors together. And that brings that meal all together. That's exactly what they do in the restaurants. And so you can have that right in your home as well. Okay?
Like in our side?
No, not like that.
Oh,
Just when you do your side, pull
Keep
some
them
of
in the
those,
same
keep them in
theme
the
as
same
whatever you
thing.
make.
Pull those in, pull one of those spices into whatever your vegetable or your quinoa, whatever you're making off to the side. Pull that all in there. And sweetener. There has to be a little bit of sweet to offset that acid. In that dish, it's the carrots. I like to use carrots whenever I can. I use two kind of sweeteners that I use at home, other than carrots, are this coconut sugar, refined coconut sugar. You'll saw it on Becca's list last week. Has a very low glycemic impact, and you can use it 1-to-1 for regular sugar. Try it again. The kids don't even know I use it. Yeah.
It's him.
And,
He's harder.
Don't tell him, he'll never know. And honey, raw local honey. I use that as well. Those are the 2 sweeteners that I use. I use carrot dough and even in spaghetti sauce. Grate it up really fine. It's just to balance out that acid and to put that in part of your taste buds. Because the sweet, salty, bitter, sour, when you have all of those flavors, you have a nice, well-balanced flavor. Okay. So you've got step 1 and 2. The other thing, make it look good. You want those veggies. You want things colorful. Because if it doesn't look good and you do not like the flavor, how excited are you going to be to go home and go, yeah, I know your meal got fun. So take that time, like we did in the beginning, and make sure it's something that you love. If you don't love it, don't cook it. Don't cook it and don't put it in your meal plan because you're never going to eat that. You're never going to get excited about that. There are people, Becca, myself, there are websites, things that we can point you to that will help you make a healthy version of that. I can make every single thing gluten dairy free. For Thanksgiving, we have gluten and dairy free everything. The grandkids have a fit. We want to know what I was doing. Grandma, what are you doing? Everything, they can tell the difference. And so there is a way to make it, and there's a way to make it healthy. So just see, and then the veggies. We talked about the veggies. Pick a good day. This is that last step that we talked about. Really pick a good day to a couple evenings a week. Be realistic, like Becca was saying. Be realistic. Are you going to be able to cook over a couple of evenings? Are you going to throw something in the crock pot? What can you do without wasting food? What can you do to set yourself up for success? This isn't something you have to do, It's something that you want to do, and it has to be that way inside of you, or it's not going to work for you. You know, it's gonna become a chore. Turn on some music, come home from the grocery store, put on your comfortable clothes, turn on some music, pour yourself something, that your favorite beverage, and get in there and have a good time in the kitchen, because if you're not doing that, if it's drudgery, it's not something that's going to work for you. So make it happen, and just have something really good to eat, and just enjoy your time in there. Twist around the floor, whatever you have to do. Okay?
I think it's really important, with what Kay's talking about too, is to not overcomplicate.
Mhm.
You know,
Yeah,
like
make
there
it
only
simple.
needs to be one star of the show
Mhm,
in a
mhm.
meal. So, at the holidays I put out a potato recipe that I use, and it's the star of the show. It's not hard, but it's the star of the show. So if I'm doing that, I'm not gonna also then make some sort of like crazy Parmesan chicken, blah, 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 blah.
Yeah.
You know, like, just do that, and then we're gonna have like grilled sausages with it.
Right.
You know what I mean? So,
Yeah.
so really, if you're making like a main dish or a meat, and that's your star, you can steam some broccoli and
Broccoli,
cook a baked
exactly.
potato, for God's sakes. Like,
Yeah.
keep it simple.
Mhm.
You know, you don't need a lot of stars,
Right.
you know.
And so that, make that star, like she's saying, make the star absolutely, keep it simple, because if you're overwhelmed, make the stars in the freezer, you can pull them out and you can make a fry in 10 minutes. Just 10 minutes. One of my favorite things to do is to shop and make freezer meals. That's one of my favorite things to do. And I take the meat, whatever meat's on sale, when I go to Sam's, and I try to shop, like Becca says, the more value the meat, the more careful I am with what I buy. Come home, get Ziploc bags, put the meat in the Ziploc bags, and then make this meat Jamaican with the spices.
So you
Make this
pre-season it before you
pre-season it.
That's a really good idea. I've
Yeah,
never done that.
yeah, and you just put all the bags out. You make this one Jamaican, you make
Just
this
the
one
seasoning
Mediterranean.
blend,
Just
though.
then you can do the seasoning, and you can put the acid in if you're freezing it right away. And then if you're freezing it right away, you just do the seasoning blend. You can put your oil in there. If you're going to grill the chicken, you do a hot oil, which is avocado oil or grapeseed. They have flash points of 450 and 500 degrees, they won't break down. And you have this on your paper as well. They won't, it's on your takeaway, the oil. Coconuts and olive oil, if you're gonna do a light side saute or cook 350 or under in the oven. It's in here, it's all on here for you, you don't have to look at it, it's all on here. And so, put your oil in there, put your seasoning in there, put your acid in there, mix it all together, write the name on it, put it in the freezer. The night before you go to bed, and the night before you go to bed, pull it out and put it in the refrigerator. The next morning, if you have your veggies, you can always put them in a separate bag. If you want to do them at the same time, put them in the freezer as well. Dump them in the crock pot with your chicken stock or your bone broth, you just dump them in and walk away. And that's how we do with this one. Is the chicken, we have the zucchini and everything in its own bag. The only thing that's really going to retain water if you freeze it is onion. I never like to freeze onion. If I'm doing fajitas, I don't use frozen peppers. Same thing, they retain water. But if you're using the crock pot, no big deal. You can chop them all up, put them in the freezer under whirlpool.
So we put the meat and the spices into, we do a little bit of the oil and
And
the
acid.
acid, freeze that, and then in a separate bag, they don't necessarily need to be frozen, we're gonna cook them that week or whatnot, or, and then but if we're gonna say we're gonna split them all up, and we're not gonna freeze them because we're gonna cook them a couple of times this week or whatnot, then, just don't add the acid, right?
Just
Like
don't,
wait, okay.
If it's not gonna be frozen, just wait for the acid. Because if it's.
But like if you
acid
bought a
cooks-
giant pack of chicken thighs,
Mhm.
for example, like the one you were gonna cook Tuesday, you could put into a bag with that seasoning.
Mhm.
Well, heck, then you could just really make it simple and maybe do 2 more bags with the same seasoning, but freeze the other
Yes,
2
yes,
bags.
yes.
And then, next week you would already have it, and then
Yeah.
next week, so for 3 weeks you would have that meal,
Mhm.
which isn't unreasonable, most of us repeat a meal
Right,
Yeah.
right.
once a week, at least
We
for
all
a
have
few
staples,
weeks.
yeah, staples that you like to go
Right.
to, yeah.
Yeah.
Another thing we've done is taking like ground when they
Mhm.
pull ground turkey, and just cook like 5 pounds at one time, or a
Right,
lot at one time,
right.
and then put it in 1 pound bags and
That's a
freeze
good
it.
idea as
And
well.
then
So
it's
you
easy
can
to make,
cook.
it's,
Mhm.
right, and then it's really easy to make tacos or.
Then you pull it out and everything. Mm-hmm. And do a base of like salt and pepper and garlic and.
Or you can even have taco, I've seen where they do make them already with taco seasoning, they
Mhm.
cook it, and then they just label it, and then, they can just add their vegetables and
Good
let it
idea.
go.
And so there are a lot of things you can do. I'm the world's worst about seeing bell peppers on sale, and those big beautiful peppers with the sweet tricolor ones. And you think I'm going to get to them, and then I find myself, and they're starting to get a little soft, and I haven't gotten it. So I pull them out, chop them all up. I have a food processor, so I'll throw them in there, or even just slice them, put them in Ziploc bags, and put them in the freezer. One of the other big things I do with the little tricolor peppers is I chop them up with onion and carrots, make little balls, mix a little olive oil in there, make little balls, freeze them on a tray, and then put them in a Ziploc bag so that I don't waste those peppers. And then when I'm making soup, I'm making omelets or anything, I just simply pull one of those out and I have these little flavor bombs to drop in when I'm cooking. So that's kind of my recipe, and when I start feeling guilty about these peppers wilting on my welding on the counter. But just little tips like that are flavor bombs. So if you want to go to this takeaway sheet, we'll go through that and see if we will getting close here. Go through what we've covered so far. See if you have any questions. Go through some of these products. I don't know if I have a hit the tape like that. All right, so let's look at it. So food should look and taste good. We said if you don't love it, it's spreadsheet in it out. If you don't absolutely love it, you're not going to eat it. That's just the bottom line. Make it something that you love. Okay? Next one, meal planning. It has immense value. It saves time and money and your health. We know that. It's so much better than grabbing something on the go. You can actually plan what you're going to eat and be happy about it. Always cook more than you plan on eating. More than you can eat in one sitting, because you can always put it in there for those busy nights that you just need to grab something and go. Invest in lunch and dinner size containers. It's a really good gift that you can give yourself, because by the time you cook 3 big meals in a week, your freezer starts with a frozen food section of Publix. You know, and you always have an option. You always have a go-to. Just face it, we are nice. We may have the best of intentions, and we're going home to cook, but it's not going to happen. I'd love to be able to grab something, heat it up, throw a big salad together, maybe some quinoa, some pasta, a bag of those veggies you already have cooked, and dinner's ready, and it tastes really good, and it's something that you love. So set yourself up for success. You're in charge. You know, you're in charge. So. Well, if I let it cool, these are kind of what I do. If I let it cool, I will use plastic containers. Do I heat them up in the plastic containers? No. So what I do is.
You'd have a hard time being perfect with that. It's
Yeah,
just
you
one of
would.
those.
Yeah,
I just didn't know if
yeah.
I just didn't know if it would expand and break the plastic
No.
ones, or, I know not to microwave
Right,
the plastic,
right.
but like, I just didn't know if the plastic would just, you know, I can
No,
have like
you
those lunch
can
meat
stack them
containers,
straight
you know,
up.
like
Yeah, you
crazy.
can stack them right up. No, it's perfectly fine. You can stack them right up in the freezer. But I let them thaw a little bit or nuke them for like 30 seconds and they'll jump out.
The morning of or
Mhm,
something.
yeah, absolutely, you can do that. Or just nuke them for 30 seconds and they'll jump right out into a glass bowl.
Okay.
You know, it's not a big deal. That you don't have to be, perfect. Whatever's easy for you. And that's the big thing that I want to get across. What is easy for you? What is easy for you? Crock pots, I can't tell you enough. Crock pots. They save your life. You just throw everything in there. You just have to make sure that you have a good liquid. There's some good bone broth. This is the chicken stock that I use. It's unsalted. You can read everything in the ingredients.
That's the beef
That's
one.
the
It's a beef. And there there's chicken.
Oh,
There's
okay.
chicken in there. And there's only like 3/4 of a cup.
And that's from
Publix, I think.
Walmart has one as well.
Do they?
They have their own brand, it's like a Sam's Choice brand, actually, that's a
So,
bone broth.
I'm looking for unsalted, or what am I specifically looking for?
I like unsalted.
Do you like unsalted? I don't have a, if you're asking from like a health standpoint, I mean, I guess technically, if we were really thinking about it, they probably use a cheap processed salt. We haven't really talked about how that plays a role in the body. So if salt is a concern for you, then, yeah, I would go unsalted and add your own like Himalayan or high mineral salt to it.
And that's
I
what
don't
do.
know the answer to that, honestly,
Yeah.
because salt's not a concern for me, really. The other thing is, how much are you really, you know, like, so people who have an issue with processed salt, almost always that's coming from pre-prepped foods. So like, you can't touch the salt in like a can of soup. You could try and salt this to have the same sodium, and you could you wouldn't even eat it, you wouldn't touch it. So if you're making a lot of your own foods and things like that, I wouldn't worry too much about that. I guess in a perfect world, unsalted and then add a high mineral
Yeah. And
salt,
that's what, more
ideally.
simply for me, is the taste preference. Too much sodium, just,
I just didn't know if this was like some kind of organic, different kind, or if it's just like the regular ones that, are buying.
well, you have to make sure you look, because the majority of them contain yeast extract.
Okay,
Or
that's what I don't,
MSG.
those are things I don't.
Those are the things that you
MSG.
don't want.
If it says natural flavors on it, that is code for MSG.
Yeah. or
So, because they know that people know to stay away from monosodium glutamate, and there's no law that requires them to put that on there. So they use the term natural flavors, and that can hide a lot of it.
And it's also yeast extract is another glutamate. That's true, it is the same thing as MSG. The food companies have gotten really wise, you think yeast is really healthy, and so you'll have yeast extract with no problem, it's MSG. That's exactly what it is, a glutamate is what a glutamate does. It changes the chemical makeup of your tasting signal, the whole system, your brain, the signals,
It's a
everything.
neurotoxin,
Yes.
so it actually changes.
Makes you think that.
Particularly important if you have children that are struggling with ADD or ADHD, if they're on the Asperger's or autism spectrum, issues with any kind of neurological, I mean, even all the way down to like learning disabilities and things like that. It's something important to think about. Yeast extract, natural flavors, MSG. Those things can have a big impact. The other thing I would argue too is that might be a good place when you can, if you have the extra pennies to spend on organic.
Yes.
You
I
could
think so.
argue that it's a good place. You have to think about like a bone broth, for example. Like when I make bone broth at home, I've cooked those bones for 24 hours. I am extracting the essence of the bone, the marrow of the bone. And so you think of that in terms of like a bone marrow transplant. I think to put it more in terms of understanding how essential and vital that is to life. I think in that situation, like that's probably a good opportunity to use the highest quality, the marrow of the bone is, essentially what you're extracting in the bone broth. It might be a good place to put some organic dollars before vegetables, before rice or quinoa or something like that. So,
I agree,
yeah.
I agree. And so pick those things, your crock pot, it just takes a little bit of the liquid, your veggies, your apples, your base, you just dump it all in there. And make sure you include that oil in there. And the same thing with the oil, try 2 tablespoons. No more than 2 tablespoons. It should be enough to put all of your meat. If you're doing double recipe, maybe 3 tablespoons. Because it will show that it stays moist and delicious in there. On your sheet, we talk about some basics to keep in your cabinet for those nights that you can't cook or you haven't had time to meal prep, those sort of things. And so I have some things here that are pretty healthy. You can read all of the ingredients and they're very clean. Tamari, most people don't understand why we can't eat soy sauce. This is a low sodium one. Tamari is 100% pure soy sauce. The other soy sauces that you see have 50% rice or wheat, and then they put the soy after it. And so this is a really good alternative. It actually tastes better than soy sauce. To anybody that's tried it, Publix, Walmart, it's everywhere. C&J is the brand. Okay. That's the one I found the least added, and it's basically it's just water, soybean, salt, and alcohol to keep it. Same thing, a good spaghetti sauce. This one has 5 ingredients. You can read them all. Publix as well. Walmart. Same thing, the Del Brasso. Same thing, which is pure. You can read everything in these.
And there's several brands, so if you can't find that brand, there's several that have that.
This one I found.
Ragu is not one of them.
No. This one I found tastes just like going to an Italian restaurant, so it's my favorite. Add meat to it, and it's ready. Right? Same thing, you think Tostitos, you think waffle. These are you'll find bonitos, and you'll see all of these other black bean chips. If you're, instead of a taco shell, you like to have a taco salad. You like to just have some bean sauce. So Ruba's a really good one. That's all natural and organic. But these, you can read everything on them, and they're great things like rosemary extract, oregano, garlic, onion. And it's shocking because you'll see some labeled healthy, natural, wonderful bonitos, and they have a lot of other. This one is one of the most natural ones that I found. So kind of have those go-tos. We're talking about your soup. Chamberlain, you do soup, or you don't have time, you simply add some stock, butternut squash, diced tomatoes, and you have dinner.
I'm conscientious of those packets though.
Yes.
That one's from Chamberlain.
This
If
is
you
from
get something
Chamberlain,
like
yes.
that
No.
at Publix or Walmart, you're gonna have a lot of the MSGs and things like that.
You read, and again, as Becca stresses, read the label. There are all passes around. You see, there's absolutely nothing, and I should have stressed that to you. Chamberlain or someone, make sure it has just the hydrated ingredient. Nothing else needs to be added, just the hydrated ingredient. Because the rest of them are going to have silicon dioxide, they're going to have all of those things that improve their shelf life. It's going to be regular grocery store. Okay, so I gave you the keys to the oils and the best ones to use for the heat. Your sweeteners, your 2 sweeteners, I wrote those down for you: coconut sugar and raw honey. A spaghetti sauce. Keep yourself a nice natural salsa in the house as well. A nice, look at the ingredients again. Look at those ingredients. One that you enjoy, not one that's flavorless. Something that you enjoy. There's a large variety. And so you always have something to go to. Down at the bottom, it talks about cook ahead and freeze. It's bacon. Get you a nice, you can get a nice big slab of bacon over here at Rogers, or you can have Applegate. It doesn't have any added nitrates or anything like that. Cook it up on Sunday morning, Saturday morning when you're home. Put it in Ziploc bags and put it right into in a Ziploc bag. Put it into the freezer. When you take it out, it crumbles beautifully on a salad, on a potato, in a soup, in your omelet. And so you always have it. If you don't have time to make a nice big breakfast, you always have it. The other thing, ham, you can do the same way. Chicken. You want to get a roast chicken, a rotisserie chicken. When you do that kind of thing, take it all off the bone. Whatever you don't eat that night, take it off the bone. Put it in a container in the freezer, and you always have chicken that you can pull out. Add that salsa to it. Add some spaghetti sauce or whatever vegetables that you have, like a stir fry, and you're ready to go. You know, just really quick takeaway ideas like that so that you can always be successful. Large batches of vegetables. Make large batches. Don't just make a single serving or 2. Make large batches. Freeze them. You always have them to pull out. Like I said, onions are the big thing that are going to be a little watery. So keep that in mind. Large pots of soup, like Becca was saying. Large pots of soups, stews, spaghetti sauces. Make a batch. You know, when you're cooking, it doesn't take that much longer to make more. Make a large amount, put it in those containers, and put them in the freezer to make that the best use of your time. You guys have any questions for me?
What did you say the neurological effect of MSG is?
It changes, it's your sensor. And so what it makes you think it is the very best thing you have ever put in your mouth. Lay's potato chips, when they say you can't eat just one, yeah.
There's also, it's an excitatory, it's an actual neuroexcitatory. mandatory, so it actually sends the brain cells into, so MSG can cross the blood-brain barrier. Nothing should ever cross the blood-brain barrier. So, there's a lot of links to, that's, well, anyway, we won't get into politics about it, but yeah. So yeah,
Yes.
we'll just stop there.
And yeast extract is
Did
the
I
same
put
thing.
out for you guys in the TLT the interview with the guy who wrote the book, The Dorito Effect? I haven't put that one out there? Okay.
Yes.
Okay, I'll put that podcast out there. It's like an hour long. You gotta like find some time to listen to it, but like on a run or a walk or something. Fascinating. He wrote a book called The Dorito Effect, and it's all about like how Doritos were like an accident and then why they were so successful, and like his mission to like go out and find flavor and what is real flavor and things like that. It's really pretty fascinating.
So that's that, yes.
I've had to go from my heart with food,
Mhm.
and I miss pasta once in a while. Is there some kind of alternative that actually tastes good? Okay.
They have the same texture, the same taste. This has white rice flour, but it has quinoa, but white rice is the first ingredient. There's this one, it has corn, but it's not a zero corn. It's the same texture. When I have company, they can't tell it apart. There's another one that they have only at Winn-Dixie, it's called the Lalo. The Lalo, and it's a brown rice pasta, and that's all it has in it, is brown rice. And so those are three options. Now, the key to these is this. Cook them as 1 minute shy of what they say you should cook them. Taste them and get them off of the stove, quick. I hit it with cold water first to stop the cooking, and then we'll heat them back up with some hot water. You know, just from the faucet, to get them out of that water. Or else they will turn gum very fast. That's what goes wrong. That's what goes wrong, yeah, get them out fast, just get them out really fast.
You guys, thank you so much for coming out tonight, and I hope you got some, even if you just take away a couple tips, like if all of it seems overwhelming, just focus on one thing at a time. Those of you that are in the Tribal Life Transformation, post your questions. Kay's in the forum with us, so if you have specific meal planning questions, she's happy to answer them. And we videoed not quite all of the presentation. We had some technical difficulties, but for those of you that were here, you can rewatch those portions. We got the meat of it. So you'll get, you can go back through and rewatch that multiple times. You can actually save these videos on Facebook, so if you click on them, if you don't know that already, you can save them and you'll have them even after.
Take that home.
All right, and then if you'll just do us a favor, just because there's a class coming right after us, if you'll just fold your chair and just shove it off to the side, that's cool, and we'll take care of it from there.
Thank you guys so